Christine Livingston, and today I'm with Nick Williams.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Good. When we were talking last, you started to touch on this whole thing that you've hit on about inspired entrepreneurs. I'm really curious about what you mean by that term and how inspired entrepreneurs would recognise themselves.
Yeah,
Tell us.
great. Yeah, well, I've kind of coined the term, and it's a very broad term, and in some respects I'm still kind of figuring out what it means. But basically, I wrote a book called The Work We're Born to Do, and on one level it's helping people find, the work that I call they were born to do, work that they would love to do, that's personally meaningful to them, and uses the best of their talent, their ability, if you like, and has some kind of purpose to it. So they're doing work that they love, and either full-time or part of the time they're running their own business doing it.
Yeah.
Because for me growing up in the UK, my idea of an entrepreneur in the 1980s was either Del Boy, in Fools and Horses, Arthur Daley in Minder, or Gordon Gekko in Wall Street.
So not positive.
No, not exactly inspiring role models
No.
of being entrepreneurial. And I think there's a whole new kind of wave of being entrepreneurial, which in a way is not about the money. But it's about the freedom of lifestyle and freedom of expression that can go with running your own business.
Yeah.
So it's about that. In my experience, most inspired entrepreneurs are doing something they love, and one of their greatest motivations is to serve their fellow human beings in some way. But instead of joining a not-for-profit organisation, they do it through the vehicle of their own business, whether that's coaching, counselling, healing, art, any kind of endeavour that touches the lives of other people.
Yeah.
Inspired entrepreneurs are into service, but they're into service through their business rather than working for a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And obviously it's the way to earn your money.
Sure.
But most inspired entrepreneurs, in my experience, are not in it for the money, they're in it for the service, and the money is kind of a wonderful byproduct of doing stuff that they enjoy and touching other people's lives.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing more and more people go in this kind of direction right now. What do you think it is about now that's kind of, making that so?
Well, I think there is some kind of, what you call a spiritual emergence, but some kind of transformation going on. And I think there's a number of factors involved. I think we're awakening to a kind of higher kind of awareness, if you like. But I think the other things that have caused that are, to some extent, we've been living in the factory age for the last 200 years, even though we don't have that many factories anymore. I think most offices, in my mind, are still factory psyches.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, a factory is, you're trained to do a job, you do it over and over again, you play by the rules, you work for approval, and then you've got a guaranteed job. Factories work like that, but I think a lot of offices have just been very, very glamorous factories in a way. I was talking to a lawyer the other week, and she said, most law firms are just glorified factories that pay people a lot of money to produce contracts and stuff. So even though they're glittery, the psyche is still that of a factory mentality. So I think that the human spirit doesn't respond to being a cog in a machine. For some people it works, but for so many more people today, being a cog in a machine doesn't inspire them. I think there's a kind of bid for people's freedom, a bid for people's positive individuality, for them to express their unique talents and to express their creativity, and I would even say to express their love through their work.
Yeah.
So I think there is a real renaissance going on. And, for some people that's been a very positive choice that they've made. Like, I chose to leave my career 20 years ago, and I think like 10 years ago with downshifting and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people were just choosing to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess today a lot of people are being forced to do it as well. But again, it's like taking that pause, if you've been made redundant, or you fear being made redundant, or you're just fed up with your work, and you're afraid of losing your job, but you don't actually want it in the first place. A lot of people are just going, what other options might there be? Are there other ways for me to work and share my talent and do what I do and earn a living out of it? So I just think a number of forces are coming together today.
Yeah. And you're putting together a whole offering, a whole community behind this whole notion. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's mainly based in London at the moment, but we have a couple of talks every month. Sometimes I give the talk, or I bring in another speaker who talks about anything from personal branding to what truly success means on a kind of personal and a spiritual level, to what else have we had, how to use social networking, We've got somebody coming to talk about, I don't know, I didn't know this, but something like 5 million people in this country now have part-time businesses. There's a whole tranche of people called 5 to 9ers, which are people that leave their job and they have a business that they run part-time.
Yeah.
You know, this country is very enterprising.
Absolutely. And I think the whole kind of blogging, social media revolution is really helping that, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm aiming just to create some kind of community where people can get education, inspiration, friendship, connection, and a roadmap for doing it, so that they can do it in their unique way. I'm not saying there's any roadmap to follow, but it's like, okay, you know, for those of us that have pioneered already, we can support, inspire, encourage people. So that's what I'm building, and it's working really well. You know, getting a real positive response. And for me, the important thing in it, it's not about networking. It's not about selling anything. It's that it's heart based, really. It's about providing encouragement, inspiration and possibility to people.
Yeah, and what I'm noticing is one of the last times we talked, you were talking about some of the loneliness you'd experienced at different parts of your whole your own evolutionary journey. And I'm getting a sense that actually what you're trying to do is to help people with that kind of side of being a entrepreneur, a solopreneur.
Yeah, because I'm not for people being kind of what I would call unhealthily independent. It's not about saying, right, I'm doing my own thing and therefore I've got to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
It's about being what I would call healthily interdependent.
Yeah.
So having people to collaborate with, having friends, having support. You know, and I think so many of what I would call inspired entrepreneurs, they learn to be great collaborators.
Yes.
They don't want to hire anybody, they don't want employees, but they want to work with a bookkeeper or an accountant, or somebody can help them with social media, or somebody to help them with their website. So they want to be part of a tapestry of other people that are good at what they do.
And understand their language and their world.
And that they're not in it just for the money necessarily, but they want a whole lifestyle to go with it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a growing area.
Fabulous. Nick, thanks very much.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.